I think that a lot of kids, because middle school is kind of an awkward age, kids tend to, they don't want to, stand out like a sore thumb. They don't want to draw attention to themselves. All of us have gone through different moments in our lives that have been, socially awkward, or we've felt like we haven't quite fit in. So I think when I'm able to comfort and make kids feel like they belong, that their voice matters, I think those are some of the most rewarding experiences. I'm Steve Summers, and I'm a sixth grade teacher at Post Falls Middle School. This is my 25th year of teaching. Prior to sixth grade, I taught fourth and fifth grade. I worked as a bus driver. I have worked in retail. I worked in a couple different sporting good situations, where at ski shops, selling bikes, selling shoes. I sold insurance for a short period of time. That was a miserable experience. All of those experiences, although they were difficult and they were sometimes, I was just treading water, I think they made me who I am today. Because when I met Jane, she was a teacher, and I had always, my whole life, I admired my teachers, and my grandfather was also a teacher. And so when I met Jane, I was sort of working a couple like part-time jobs, but I didn't really have a career path, so to speak. And so that is where I decided to jump in. And I think for years, from the time I was probably 21 to about 28, I knew that teaching was something that I probably should have pursued. When I proposed to her and we were engaged, I entered Eastern and got my teaching degree. And the rest is history. I've been teaching, this is my 25th year. There are days where I'm exhausted. It really is an emotional drain, because I went into teaching very idealistic, that I was going to make a huge impact on my classes, and I realize now that I am sort of building on their prior knowledge. I'm just one little piece in their journey. Some of the challenges are things like kids that are not prepared when they come to school. They're tired, or they've had an emotional weekend. A lot of the kids, they come from dysfunctional type of home environments. And surprisingly, a lot of kids are just exhausted. And so sometimes it's lack of sleep, sometimes it's emotional issues. And so it's hard sometimes to connect with kids when they're so tired. But if I can, really get them on task and really make them take pride in their work, I think that's the biggest joy that I get. So my childhood was a rocky one, and my dad died when I was 6, and he was a mountain climber, and I'm fortunate to have his love for the outdoors, and unfortunately he died in 1973 when I was 6 and my brother was 4. And so those experiences did shape me, and it was also a source of struggle and trauma, I guess you call PTSD. 10 years ago, I was drinking really, really heavily. I was gambling. I was just really trying to escape all the burdens that I was feeling. My human nature, or at least my tendency, is to try to be strong and to do everything on my own merit. And and I'm not able to overcome some of those obstacles. And so for me, it's a daily rededication to sobriety and working with other folks in the program. We are very connected with our spiritual creator. You could call it God, whatever our understanding of what higher power is. I've done the, do it alone approach where it's, I've taken on life on my own shoulders, and I was miserable. I was just a basket of stress and anxiety. Faith it's not a lone journey. I think it's finding ways of connecting with people and sharing both sorrow, struggles, successes, and lifting each other up. I do remember a kid a few years ago and had an awful home situation. And I do remember praying for him, and I can't take full credit, but we brought in a mentor. It was an old guy that took this kid under his wing, and to see how this kid reacted to having a positive role model in his life. And I feel like that act of praying for and providing some guidance, that I made his life a little bit less burden, less of a burden, where he could feel some joy in his life, even though it was an awful, horrible home situation. And so I think those experiences, seeing that light, that the kid could feel that sense of people caring for him, was one of the most meaningful teaching experiences. I pray that I can be a better facilitator to lead them in the path that they need to take. I guess, I do pray for kids that are struggling, and I pray that they can find, I guess, some inner peace, because I have taught kids that have been very angry and similar to myself. And so I pray that they can find their way or negotiate their way. What I've been able to do is to draw from those experiences and to try to be an inspiration to kids that are also from single parent families, ones that have struggled, not having a two-parent family, or having a lack of support. And so sometimes it's single moms, sometimes it's single dads. And so I guess I'm better equipped to understand where they're coming from. And, I was a pretty angry kid, because I compared myself to other kids who had two-parent families. And I felt left out, or I felt different. And so I think that was another reason why I engaged in some of those, destructive type of behaviors, was trying to overcome some depression, and trying to find some closure. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.